on a rampage of total destruction. Godzilla, king of the monsters.
You ever watch an old Godzilla movie? A monster that's clearly out of control. I bet he was much nicer when he was little. Not that cute, but you get the point.
Fantastic beyond comprehension.
This little guy grew up to be some kind of monster. Sort of like Cypress Creek EMS. After growing up as a needed charity rescue service in the once rural woods of northwest Harris County, Cypress Creek EMS is now a $33 million bureaucracy, an ambulance company providing 911 ambulance service for more than 600,000 of us. For the first time in 45 years, CCEMS may actually lose that right to answer your calls for help. And this guy is clearly one of the reasons why. Brad England, the CCEMS boss, makes nearly $250,000 a year. More than even the Houston fire chief does. If you followed us, you know we busted Mr. England whining and dining years ago on your ambulance bill money. And ever since, he's been fighting to keep his ambulance kingdom's finances a secret. You pay most of the CCMS salaries, but ask who's getting paid, and they'll sue you to keep it a secret. England's been the target of multiple sexual harassment complaints too. But that's not why he's no longer allowed at the meetings of ESD 11. They're the folks you elect to police this 911 government contract with Cypress Creek. Plain and simple, Mr. England, he doesn't tell the truth. Want just one recent example?
$105 for front pads, and there's the van on the lift. Inside of an hour, this deal is done.
Does 100 cool? Or do you guys don't take a card, do you?
No, sir, we don't.
I got 100.
That's fine. Not a problem.
Back in February 2019, Channel 2 uncovered a cash-only car repair shop operating right inside the CCEMS ambulance maintenance shop. Sure looked like your 911 money was being, well, stolen.
This works. Please get out of my shop. Please get out of my shop.
Cypress Creek promised to get the sheriff to investigate, and their lawyer, Andrew McKinney, even promised that anyone who did not cooperate would be gone. Listen.
I can assure the district that each and every Cypress Creek employee, from the very bottom up to the board president, will cooperate fully with law enforcement. Anyone who does not will be subject to immediate termination or other removal from their position.
So a year later, the ESD board was still in the dark. We can't show you video of the meeting they held in February of this year because CCMS won't give us a recording of it, or you. But we do have the official minutes. Quoting, Mr. England stated that the CCMS Forensic Investigative Report has been provided to the Harris County Sheriff's Office earlier in the day.
Sergeant Joshua Novitz, I've run the Financial Crimes Unit at the Harris County Sheriff's Office.
We're about to bust Mr. England again because we've actually talked to the very guy who tried to supervise this investigation. I say tried because CCEMS, well, they didn't cooperate.
Subject to immediate termination.
Who you gonna fire first, Mr. McKinney? Doesn't the buck stop with Brad England?
Additional documentation was requested in the case. It was never received. It was requested on several occasions. We never received that documentation, and as such, our case was eventually closed.
But what about the audit Brad England claimed in a public meeting was delivered on that February morning?
Besides what was provided along with the initial report in 2019, no additional documentation has ever been received by our office.
This breaking news will likely confirm what some ESD officials already suspect. They were lied to, plain and simple. And we've learned the Harris County DA's office, their public integrity unit, is now investigating this maintenance scam. Cypress Creek has now supposedly given them that audit. But only after the ESD board decided it was time to seek a new ambulance company.
Day after day, we noticed all manner of other vehicles in their garage. Jeeps and pickups, even this 1930 Model A Ford.
We learned something else the ESD board has never been told. CCMS was actually doing courtesy repair work for their employees so they wouldn't miss work. Don't you wish you had that deal?
They would allow the mechanic to conduct repairs on the vehicle on the employee's vehicle, as long as the employee provided the parts.
But remember, Channel 2 showed records of car parts being bought. We asked to see them about a year ago, and CCMS sued us. Mr. McKinney likes to scare people off with lawsuits. They've spent more than $500,000 of your ambulance bill money trying to keep CCEMS financial records a secret. Money that should have been used for medical supplies. This is another public meeting held under coronavirus rules this year. We only have the audio, but you can hear it's gotten uglier than ever before.
You're 100% wrong. You can stop lying right now like you have lied for the last several months.
In March, it got so bad, the ESD even cut the monthly payment for ambulance service by over $100,000 a month. Here's why it's gotten ugly. Cypress Creek's been accused of making and then keeping money on medical supplies they make from other calls that ESD taxpayers have already paid for. Where's the refund? The dispatch center may be cheating ESD taxpayers too. ESD 11 taxpayers pay all their salaries, but only make up about half their calls. It's gotten so bad, they're now writing lawyer letters. This one accused CCMS of having financial records, quote, woefully lacking in transparency. The ESD board, the letter said, has, quote, grown weary of being ignored. Big ambulance companies are now competing to take over the routes from CCMS, and now their president is threatening a legal fight.
Absent of the ESD pulling down or rescinding the RFQ, it leaves us really with no other option than to pursue legal intervention.
We've been warning you folks for years that you're getting fleeced by CCMS because they have a government contract that, quite frankly, only a fool would have agreed to. Unlike virtually any other 911 service in this entire state, CCEMS gets to keep all the ambulance bill money they make, spend it how they like, and then still get $15 million more in property tax money.
Raging through the streets on a rampage of total destruction.
Like Godzilla, somewhere along the way, this once little charity decided it had become so powerful it could push the elected officials around. Seriously.
CCMS senior representatives consider ESD 11 a subordinate organization, and its duties limited to providing tax-generated funds.
Now there are charges they exaggerated response times. But the biggest question is what ESD taxpayers are really getting for all the money they're giving Cypress Creek. Take the Grady EMS system in Atlanta, costs about $30 million a year. They've got more than 40 ambulances on the street all the time. CCMS, with a budget almost as big, has just 15 full-time ambulances, less than half. It got so ugly in the April meeting, Brad England wasn't even allowed to come. The number 2 guy, Ren Neely, was trotted out instead. But we've learned it was Neely the sheriff's office was communicating with, or at least trying to. Many of their calls not returned. And he's a former cop.
If we don't receive the documentation we request, then no, we can't work the cases.
And you asked for it a bunch of times.
Several times. The investigator did document in the report it was requested several times.
Hiding the ball seems to be the game plan over at CCMS. In an ESD audit last year, Brad England was accused of refusing to cooperate. Where have I heard that before?
I was told that they're coming in to audit stuff. Well, some stuff we let them, some stuff he said, no, it has nothing to do with your scope of your audit. Show me the scope.
It wasn't that. It wasn't show me the scope. It was, that's none of your business.
That ESD audit should have raised all kinds of alarm bells because the more money the ambulance patients pay, the less the taxpayers have to pay. CCEMS awarded its medical billing contract years ago to a brand new company called Coronis. It's run by the wife of, guess who? Ren Neely. What a small world. The auditor said CCMS was hard at collecting medical bills, yet Coronis is still there.
Calls are going like this. Costs are going like this. How is billing revenue going like this?
Look at this, $46 million billed in 2018, only $10 million collected. The audit says CCMS should have collected $14 million more. Maybe you wouldn't need to pay property taxes. There's tons of evidence CCMS is cheating taxpayers. They've been busted again and again. You know, in a divorce, they often cite irreconcilable differences. That, my folks, is what we've got here. The Army had a tough time with Godzilla back in 1956, but it's time for these public officials to end this monster's reign of terror.